Hello and welcome to another video or podcast episode, depending on where you watch or listening. So today we are continuing our series on looking at Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, through the lens of forest school, business and outdoor life. So previously we have covered the first 3 habits, which are the first personal habits. So these are the habits that pertain to us individuals. And basic philosophy is that you work on yourself first before you start looking at your relationships with other people. Change yourself first, and then you can look to make change in the world. All change, Buddha has always said that all change begins within. So the first 3 habits were be proactive, begin with the end in mind, and put first things first. So we're going to now take a look at habit number 4, which is think win-win. So this is based on the idea that in any negotiation, in any relationship, in any time where you're exchanging value or looking to find a contract or set up a business or whatever, and you're interacting with someone else, there are 4 ways that this interaction can play out. You can, one of you can win and one of you can lose. It's win-lose. You can lose, someone else can win. That's lose-win. Then you have lose-lose, everybody loses. And then there's win-win, where everybody gets what they want out of the agreement. And the central thought here is that we want to focus on win-win. Focus on agreements and relationships that are mutually beneficial for both people. And we'll get into how that relates to everything else. But for now, I'm just going to talk about the philosophy behind that. So win-lose is characterized by the people that are high drivers. These are people that we as forest school leaders really hope that we're not. The people that push really hard, if you think about it, like car salesmen, really sleazy internet and computer sales techs, that kind of thing. You know, the people where you leave feeling like you got taken advantage of slightly. So those people are thinking win-lose. And in return, we are going through that relationship from a lose-win. So we lost, the other person won. And sometimes we do that in relationships where we just let ourselves be steamrolled and we just go along with something that doesn't benefit us in the long term. This is a habit of people pleasers, people who, and nice guys, so people that are trying to please everyone around them and don't want to be thought of badly at all. Both of those are not good ends of the spectrum to be on. You don't want to either be aggressively salesy or just a doormat for everyone. And you obviously don't want to be in a system where everyone loses, where you may have lost and then out of spite you make sure no one else wins either. And the whole concept of this chapter and this habit is to move from those 3 systems to only considering 2 options in relationship. That's win-win or no deal. And that's essentially, if we can't find an agreement that works for both parties, then it's better not to have a deal entirely. Now this generates some cognitive dissonance, and you can think, well, how would this work in practice? And I think probably one of the best examples to illustrate it is, say you have someone who wants to come to your sessions and you offer them on a certain day. Now that day doesn't work for them, or that you offer, or they want at a certain price. Let's say your sessions are £15 and they say they're only willing to pay £10. Now we could either be really aggressive and push our price and say, nope, price is the price, and try and convince them that they need to buy it, or we could just roll over and give them a discount. But those won't be good long-term solutions, because we won't be building a positive relationship. Either they'll feel taken advantage of, or we will feel bitter about setting it up in a way that causes us to lose money. So the better thing to do is go, okay, so clearly right now at this moment, this session is not the right one for you. This is what our price is, not being pushy or anything. This is what our price, this is what the quality is. But if you're not prepared to pay that, then this is the point where you send them elsewhere. You say, okay, fine, that's fine. I would rather have both of us happy with the situation here. If we can't achieve that, then maybe you need to find a different forest school somewhere, or a different provider of sessions, because you clearly aren't the right audience for this, and I'm not the right leader for you. So it's willing to let go of custom, and this can also apply to when you are being offered contracts and when you're offered new opportunities. If you look at it and you go, you know what, I could take this, but I don't think I'd be delivering what the other person wants, then it's probably a better idea to walk away from that deal, because otherwise you're going to harm your standing, your professional reputation long term, because they will start thinking, well, why is this person why am I paying this person? They're not giving me the things that I need out of it. I'm not going to think positively towards them, and bad reputations travel fast. So it's looking at the relationships we have differently, and looking at how we can come out efficiently. And this requires a level of maturity and ability to look at both sides and go, okay, I might really want to do this, but it might not be right for them, or they need someone else, or I'm going to need something else within this agreement to make it work out for me. Let me first look at what the other person needs, and then we can work together collaboratively, and we can design a system that is win-win, where we're not trying to take advantage of anyone else. Now, this is relatively simple to do when you are just starting out a new relationship. You can pretty much walk into a conversation and you can decide there and then, is this something that we want to pursue long term or not? And you can go, well, look, hey, it's not going to work out, I don't think. You want something different to me, and we can't agree on something, so let's just agree to go our separate ways. That's really easy, really simple. And I hope we can all get to the point where we are saying no to things that really don't make sense for us. Now, with relationships that have been longer term, I'm talking both personal and professional relationships. If there is something that you need to change within an organization or within a structure, a relationship that already exists, I mean, this could mean you move somewhere else, you leave a relationship if you really can't reconcile. But it's a lot about thinking about the emotional bank account. Now, this is a concept that is covered in this chapter as well, but it's something that I believe quite strongly in. So it's when we are interacting with anyone else, whether they are our partner, our children, the head teacher of the school, whoever, you are both in some way going to be internally keeping score. And you're keeping score with things that basically, have you put money into their bank account, emotional money, or have you withdrawn it? So if you ask someone for a favor, in some ways you are withdrawing. We all know that person that's constantly asking for things and then offers very little in return. I'm not talking, say, someone keeps on asking for help, but then offer return in a different way, because we're not talking strictly capital here. We're not talking strictly monetary capital. We can talk about social capital. We can talk about there's people that I know that they come to my sessions and they may not provide as much value as anyone else, but they do monetary value, but they provide a whole lot more in terms of help and support, and it will probably cost me more to pay them than they are actually getting for coming to the sessions. So there are people where it's not a straight monetary transaction. There are people that I feel like I do a lot for, but they are truly lovely people and they give back in terms of they thank me, they appreciate the gifts, appreciate the help. So I don't mind helping more often because it's so well appreciated. But the person who just takes and is almost like a drain, I mean, there's times everyone goes through troubles of period. There was a period where I didn't have a lot of money, and a lot of people would buy me drinks, buy me a meal, give me a lift, and massively grateful to that time. But there was a finite amount of time, and then I moved on from that, and then I've been able to give back since then because we've built that relationship. So it might go overdrawn in one direction, or you might have a really healthy balance, and there's seasons of life. But if someone is consistently withdrawing without adding something to the relationship, then unfortunately there's time to reevaluate it. Now this goes across all of the relationships, and it applies to you as well. You need to think about which way have you balanced the relationships. Now in forest school, something that is often noticed and talked about is the difference in interactions that teachers have with difficult students, whether they are in the classroom or out in the woods. Now in the classroom, because these children are often under a lot of pressure, they are struggling to complete work, they really don't want to be there, and they're acting out, and so often the bank account that they hold for their teacher is in serious overdraft, because 9 out of every 10 interactions is going to be negative. Sit down, do your work, stop that, no you can't do that, do this, that's wrong. And you've got to be thinking about what kind of relationship is that building. Not a good one. Whereas when they come out to the woods and the teacher is removed from that position of having to control their behavior, because often it will fall down to the practitioners for that, then they can shift. And good teachers are the ones that will take this opportunity to start putting things back into the bank account. Okay, wow, you did so well with that fire steel. You built a fire. You're doing fantastically at this. And it's starting to build things back. And we can think about it with children as well. We don't want, if all of the interactions we have with our children are negative, then that's going to harm the relationship. So we need to be looking for areas where we can lift them. It might not be direct praise. It might just be, hey, I thought of you and I thought we could do this activity today because that's something that you really like doing. And it could be, okay, favorite foods, or you know what, we'll cut this activity short because I know you're not a massive fan of it. It's thinking about how we can build better relationships and make sure that we are getting closer to equal footing. Like I say, there's times where it'll go out of balance, but we always want to be working towards that point where things are in harmony, so that we are in a value for value exchange, that we are really invested in our relationships and giving, and as well as receiving with gratitude. And then that's the key to building good relationships. And then once you get to that point where the relationship is balanced, or if you're in the positive really well, then it's more likely that people are willing to listen, more people that are more willing to move towards a win-win agreement. If you've brought value consistently for a school, you've gone above and beyond what the head teachers or the management require, then when you ask for more time or more money or more resources or whatever, they're going to be much more positively inclined to that. So think about where you can go beyond the normal. So there we go. That is habit number 4. Think win-win. We've got 3 more habits to go, so keep an eye out on this series. And so thank you so much for watching. I'd appreciate your feedback. If you're on the video on YouTube, do you like it better if I'm just kind of sitting down and not moving all around the place? I think better while I'm moving, but it's nice just to be able to sit down and talk directly to the camera. So let me know which one you prefer, and yep, leave me a review, send me a message if you're on podcast. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the series so far, or podcasts in general. If there's anything you'd like me to cover, let me know. Thank you so very much for watching, and remember to make the most of every day.